So I'm looking through a stack of questions that have come in recently, and it makes me realize that we're living in a time of such overwhelming uncertainty that it's as if everything is in question. And of course, in the midst of that, we question ourselves. Um, and so I don't know how to sort through the questions, but one of them that intrigued me was, how do we get through the period right in front of us? We're about a month away from the election here in the United States, but at the same time as the election occurs, or right before it, uh, we go into the end of daylight saving times, which makes the days feel shorter, which they are slowly getting shorter, while the shadows are getting longer, and we're entering the dark time of the year. So it's like a double whammy. The troubles are intensifying, and the world is literally getting darker. And so we can be apprehensive about that, or in some of the questions, people were asking about dread of what's coming. So what has been making me think about is the old imagination behind the Celtic calendar. And the ancient Celts divided the year into the light half and the dark half. And we're coming to the end of the light half, and the dark half would begin with what they call Samhain or Samhain, which people now call Halloween. But it really meant the end of the light half of the year and the entering into the dark. And so even though the darkness can make us apprehensive and even more uncertain, in the Celtic imagination, the dark half of the year was the more inspired time. And the way they imagined it is that before creation, everything is in darkness. And so darkness is the preliminary for creation continuing. And so they were more comfortable with the dark. As a matter of fact, they often called themselves the daughters and sons of night. And so I'm taking some encouragement from that. And as I was thinking about that, another idea occurred to me, which is their idea, which is that between the ending of the light half of the year and the beginning of the dark half, there's a little gap. The things aren't even. And what happens is, in the gap, eternity comes back into the world. The eternal comes in and stimulates the creative process of the world. So I'm taking that as a positive thing found on the edge of darkness. And then I'm imagining, well, I'm really following their imagination, because in their imagination, each person, by virtue of being alive and having a soul, is connected to the soul of the world, or the soul of the cosmos. And so that means that this little gap, which is the opening through which the eternal enters, is something that we have access to. And so another one of the questions is, what do you mean by inner wisdom? And what I mean by that is, in a time like this, when the outside world is so unstable and so full of confusion and conflict, it's hard to find wisdom out there. So we're going to have find the wisdom inside. And back to the Celtic idea, each person actually has within them all the time access to this gap between the light and the dark, access to the energy of creation and inspiration. And one of the demonstrations of it is that because each person is a microcosm of the macrocosm, when we are breathing, we're actually, in some sense, breathing in the whole world. We know it's all interconnected now, and we know here where I live, we're breathing in fires from 1,000 miles away. That doesn't feel good, but it gives you a hint it's all connected, and we're breathing the world through us when we breathe. And so when we inhale and then are about to exhale, the gap between inhaling and then exhaling is that same gap between the light and the dark, between the darkness before creation and the recreation of the world. And so part of what inner wisdom means is attending to our breath, and not simply the in and the out, but taking the breath in and then feeling the little gap through which energy, even creative energy, can come into us, and then going to the inhale, or the other way around. I'm going into mythological and metaphysical ideas and images that reside inside people that are usually not tapped, because people in the modern world are trained to look for the answers outside, when more and more I think we have to find the answers inside. We have to find the medicine inside, and we have to find this breath that ties us to the ongoing creation of the world in order to survive the calamity of things going on around us. At least that's the thought that came to me while looking at the long list of all the things that are in question.